Do I just like talk normal? Do I have to do anything?
Nope, just be yourself.
Just be cool. Okay.
Yes.
Just pretend I'm cool. Got it.
Exactly.
I will fake it till I make it.
All right. So, Jill, all right. So, what do you do?
It's a good question.
Right.
So I'm a social worker by trade.
Okay.
So I tell people a lot I'm a social worker. My title at work at my day job is manager of holistic defense.
Okay.
So I work at the Montgomery County Public Defender's Office.
Right.
So I manage our social work teams, and then I manage what we call our client engagement team, which are all the people that are like in the courts and at reception. They're the first line kind of defense that people see
Okay.
with the public defender's office. So I don't do a lot of client work anymore, but I do more like managing now.
Okay. All right. And so, with social work, do you see a lot of social problems?
Oh my God, yes. I see. Yeah. So I've been in the field a little over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
So I started practicing social work when I was like 23, 24 years old when I went back to grad school to get my degree.
Right.
And the first 8 years I spent in the homeless system. So I worked at Daybreak, which is a youth homeless shelter, and I did a lot of direct service there. And really, I think just kind of got like a front row view to like, the housing crisis that we have, just the inequality that we see, just the problems with our entire social service system, whether it's child welfare, children's services, job and family services. And then, I transitioned into the criminal justice world. But what was interesting when I made that jump, I was like, man, I'm ready for something different. Like working in the homeless system is so hard. These people.
So let me hold on. Let me
Yeah.
before you go too much further. Okay, so homelessness, right? When people become homeless, what would be the number one reason they become homeless? Just being real without being political about it.
No, I don't want to be. I'm trying to, because I want to be like honest about it. I mean, I think the biggest reason people are homeless is because they can't afford rent. And there's not enough subsidized or public housing, where there's rental assistance available, right? Like where people only have to pay a percentage. There's just not enough of that type of housing.
But why do they need that though?
Because
Do you need that?
I do not need that. No.
Why don't you need it?
Because I can afford to pay my mortgage, and
why?
because I work.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, but there were certainly times, and I think there's a piece of that comes, there's a privilege piece to that and a generational wealth piece to that, right? Because when I was in grad school, I couldn't have afforded rent and all my bills, right? Like I had help, I had to take out loans, I had family that would help me. And so I think a lot of people can't afford because some of them don't work, and some people do work, and the amount of money that they make while working can't pay for an apartment or a house.
What do you think a valid reason for not working is? I mean, it could be more than one.
So like physical disability, right?
I'll give you that one.
Physical disability. I think the way our system is now, sometimes once people have more than a couple of kids, I think it becomes nearly impossible to work because of the price of daycare or the lack of availability of like like Title 20, like free daycare, transportation. What are you gonna get on the bus, take 3 kids 3 places and still you can't do shit like that. So I think kids, I think physical disability, and I do think that there are people with significant mental health issues and significant trauma that they just don't have like the emotional like fortitude to work. Like it's just too much for them. Does that make sense? I've met a lot of people like that in my career.
So, but all right, is there people who don't want to work because they don't like the type of jobs that they would be forced to work at?
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for example, do you want to do social work?
Yes.
And are you doing social work?
Yes.
Why are you doing the work that you want to do?
Because I like it, and because I need money.
Well, I think maybe I'm asking this: how? How are you doing that?
What do you mean?
Well, okay. So what I'm getting at is, you went to school, you prepared, you figured out what you wanted to do. Excuse me, what you wanted to do with your life, and you prepared yourself in that particular way. And for that reason, your options are opened up a lot.
Yes.
So I think the message that I want to get across to a lot of people is that you can control a lot of factors of your life by being prepared and just planning a little bit better. And yes, you do have to go through some rough times. Like I have been homeless before, you know, and the reason why I was homeless at these particular points in my life when I was like 18, 19, it was my fault. Just being honest.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to stay with my grandfather because I didn't want to live by his rules. I
Right.
could have went there and stayed. Or probably anybody else, but I wanted to be who I was comfortably. And if I could do that in my car, I would rather do that than to live under somebody else's roof. But like the reason why I didn't have a job that I liked or for whatever reason, it was because choices that I made. Even though it might be harsh to say that about a 18 or 19-year-old, but like a lot of it is kind of like parents. They have to instill these values in their kids to make good choices and really like parent in order for the kids to get the message that these decisions that you're making as a high schooler, as a teenager, can affect you for real. Like it can really have some serious consequences on the quality of life that you have.
Yeah. I think that's hard to convince an 18er because what we know about brain development, right, is like our brains really don't start that frontal lobe that's like all of our rational decision making that really doesn't fully develop till you're 24 or 25. And I think because I hear you, and when I worked at Daybreak, I worked with 18 to 24-year-olds, and I would like just scream that, right, like but I just think, and then I think about myself at 18 or 19, and like I thought I was so smart, right? I'm like, all these idiots, like they don't know what it's like to be me, right? But it's literally because like your brain is broken, like it's not working yet. And so I hear you, but I do think there is like this impairment with young people that they just lack the ability to see the bigger picture.
But what about the ones that are doing okay and making good decisions?
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart young people that understand these things.
Right. No, there are.
So it's not.
I'm just
maybe,
jealous of them, right? Maybe I wish I would have been one of them.
But it seems like, I don't know, you weren't?
No. Oh my God, no.
I don't think that I was either. So
and we made it,
to
right?
that point, like you can't turn things around.
Yes.
You know, you can go from being homeless, but sometimes, like, I don't know, this is like, I got a funny sense of humor, especially with my kids and stuff. But like a lot of times you'll see somebody at the bottom of an overpass. Do you feel like the person that's standing at the bottom of the overpass could work sometime? No, they couldn't.
So I know most of them, right? Like, I mean, I like literally like when I see people at the bottom of the overpass, like at least half the time I'm like, oh, it's so and so, right? Like my old client. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Like, go do this. People they'll say they're like, Miss Jill, leave me alone. But I'll be like, you listen, like you need to go do this. You need to go see your PO. You need to go talk to Miss whoever. But and a lot of those people that I do know, I don't think they're at a point. And what you see with people,
they can't work
where they could work. No, I don't think
it's mental illness.
I think it's mental illness. I think it's drug use. I think it's just trauma to the point that they are constantly like in fight or flight mode. They can't make they just don't have the ability to make a rational decision. I think, even if we got him a job, right? Like even if I said, hey, listen, my friend said you can come work for him, right? Like they just don't have those skills to be able to like maintain a job.
Is that a job in itself though?
What do you mean?
Setting up shop at the end of the highway and asking for money.
And flying a sign. Yeah, when I say that, I have certainly said that to my clients. I'm like, look at all the work you did today to get drugs, to fly a sign, to, scam me out of some free food, right? Because there is a hustle there.
It definitely is.
Could, in theory, translate to working. And I think there's some people that can make that leap, right? That can like use, the skills that they've honed for survival,
right?
Because of the situation they're in. that could translate into what we would consider like typical employment or typical work. But I don't think that that is the case for a lot of the people
So
that we see.
you probably have to have a bit of mental illness to stand at the highway.
Right. I mean, I
Yeah,
think so.
I think so too.
And I mean, and that's what I think too when people are like, "Oh man, like they should just get a job. They should just do this."
Yeah.
I'm like, would you go like
Or
think
would you
about
hire
where you're
them?
at? Right. Number one, would you hire them? And number two, like think about the spot that you have to be in to be okay, like holding a sign out in the
Right.
rain,
Right.
like begging for quarters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
And that's what I think people forget. And anybody who's ever been on public assistance or like gone through the bullshit to get public housing, like that's not easy either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, people are like, "Oh, look at, they're just like feeding off the system." And it's like, well, that's like that takes a fair amount of work. But I also think it begs the question you brought up that if you're able to navigate the system and do the hustle to get your food stamps and your free daycare and your housing and all that, like how can we translate that, to the real world?
Right.
So I don't know. It's tough, and I think it really just depends on the person.
And is it a setup to just pretty much settle for less too? Because you get just enough in order to just make it through.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, it's like getting food stamps and a little bit of money that they might give you a per month adds up to more than if you actually went out and worked at a job.
Yeah.
Especially with the healthcare and stuff, right?
Oh my gosh. And yeah, if I'm going to go out and bust my ass working 15 hours a day and come out with the same thing, let me stay home with my kids, right? Like let me, do that. And I think it is kind of a setup. And yeah, and I think once you get there where you are in that like grind of just relying on these different things, it's so hard to get out of it, right? And that was one of when I look to there's kind of been two periods in my career where I was like, I'm ready for a change, like I'm a little burnt, like, and one of them was really the first couple years in. It's like they teach you as a social worker, right? Like as like a little case manager, social worker lady, they teach you how to get people food stamps. These are important things, right? For people that are hungry. Like they teach you how to get people food stamps. They teach you how to house them like in public housing, right? They teach you how to get people Social Security, disability. And then it's like,
what do you mean they teach you? Who teaches you?
well, I mean, but you kind of learn as you go. But like in theory, in school, you learn about those different things, right? Like how to apply to these types of programs, and and your boss teaches you like, oh, this is how you get somebody food stamps, or this is how you like make it quick through the interview process for that kind of stuff. But then I realized like I'm working with all these 18, 19, or 20-year-old kids, and I like feel proud of myself that I like put them in like a shitty apartment somewhere. Got them on Social Security on this fixed income that they could potentially have for the rest of their lives, got them their benefits, and they live in like in a bed bug infested unit with people that are like screaming next door. And like, I'm supposed to feel proud of myself. It's like, check them off the list. They're not homeless anymore.
Right.
And is their situation better? Yes. But they, in theory, have like another 70 years to live like this,
Right.
And that was kind of like my first. I do a lot of like mentoring with young social workers and people in the field, and you kind of have these different crises. And that was my first big one. Like, what am I even fucking doing out here? You know?
Right.
So
let's take a beer drink. But damn, that's something. Because I talk about that, or I think about that sometimes, that no matter what you do, somebody can have a problem with it. Even if you are standing up for God, there is an argument that you're doing something completely wrong.
Yeah.
We get into Bible debates on this show all the time about who's right in their interpretation of Scripture.
Right.
And it gets,
I'm sure it gets very
serious.
heated. Yeah.
Yes. So even like trying to do the right thing, somebody can interpret it as being wrong. And so what you're doing is like when you're reflecting on, yes, you got somebody away from being homeless, which is a good thing. But at the same time, you're like, but damn, did I put them and set them up to just like be demotivated to get more?
Right. Yeah. Or was I focusing on all the wrong things, right? Like, should I have been having these thoughtful conversations like that you're talking about? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And And that's not how our system, like our social service, social work system is. It's like, you got to triage, you got to do like, you got to deal with like the big major issues first, but then you're like, I'm done, and where does
Right.
that leave somebody?
Right.
You're kind of a cog in the wheel of this just like totally fucked up system. And you're pushing people through, but I don't know. I
Do
don't
you
know.
think that the people who established this system had good intentions by doing these things, or do you think they wanted to make people just like lazy?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, right? And I believe, I don't know if a lot of people believe this, but I do believe that people are basically good, right? I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we're all born good and pure, and nobody is just born looking to like fuck up the whole world, right? I
Right.
really don't believe that. So I want to believe that people, when they set up these different systems and programs, had good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
But I also watch and practice as many of these systems like just serve to punish people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to keep people down. And and you wonder about the why of it. Like an example I use a lot is like so in this state, to get food stamps you have to work for them. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you knew that there's a work requirement for food stamps.
Okay.
So if you're like over 65, you don't have to work for your food stamps. Or if you have kids under 5 years old at home, you don't have to work for your food stamps. But otherwise, you have to work for your food stamps.
Yeah.
So you gotta like go to these little like classes and I don't know, like go to these classes, look for jobs, prove to the state that you're like trying to get off food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, and in theory, you understand the sentiment behind it, right? Because people don't want to stay on, you don't want people to stay on food stamps forever. But then you think about like the stupidity of how much money we spend on this stupid work program, right?
Right.
We pay contracts with like Goodwill and other companies to like provide like the work classes, right? And think of all the postage of where people have to mail in their proof that they're looking for jobs, and they
Yeah.
got to attend these orientations that they're paying people to do, and there's special caseworkers assigned to like monitor to make sure. And all of a sudden it's like we're spending millions of dollars. So it's not about money, it's about punishment. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's about like, well,
Right.
you better fucking work if you think you're going to get some food.
Right.
And that's when you think like, no, there is something inherently gross
Yeah.
about what we're doing here. And
Mm.
was it intended that way? I don't know. But there's so many things that are just so punitive about our system that it makes you
Yeah.
wonder if we're not just trying to hurt people.
I wonder, are they trying to not motivate, but just like help people understand it? Like, damn, you really can't get nothing for free. Like, the concept of you have to work in order to eat is a real thing. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yes.
oh, so, but what I do think is, I don't think you should punish people for working. So I think that if somebody actually goes out and works, are you automatically cut off from getting food stamps? Can you get food stamps if you work a job?
It depends on like the makeup. It depends how much you're making. It depends how many people in your family. But
You can't.
quickly,
You
no.
can't. No.
I mean, if you were to like read the rules, they'd be like, sure, like if you're not making enough money to pay for your food, then sure you would still get some food stamps. But what I see in practice is typically the time anybody picks up a job, the food stamps are going to be either taken entirely or cut very drastically.
Wow.
So to your point, that does kind of feel like punishment for
Hmm.
working or incentive to stay stuck.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I mean, if I could stay at home and get the same amount as going to work, then you're gonna stay at home.
Wouldn't we all? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think that's what anybody would do.
So
That's like
how could they
retirement, right?
tweak that though?
Yeah, I don't know. How do you tweak that?
I don't know, but it should be some way that you incentivize working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna give food stamps to people for not working, what's the difference if they go to work?
Right. Well, and that's where you get into like these bigger, I feel like, philosophical questions of like, we also have to think about the fact how many pounds and pounds and billions of pounds of food go to waste in our country every single
Exactly.
day.
Right.
And you have all these people that are homeless, but how many houses sit vacant? Or how
Hmm.
many people have like 18 houses, right, for
Yeah.
two people? And, you know, and then you look at these places, you think about the idea of like universal basic income, right? Like where everybody just gets $1,500 a month, no questions asked. And there have been some studies, like, so there was this one like experiment out in California, and I'm going to mess it up, but like everybody in this, it was like people who were homeless, people who were just like living in poverty, poor users of the system, right?
Right.
They got just like a universal basic income. Like everybody got like $1,200 a month, let's say. And they saw that people like use this money. You know, everybody's like, oh, they're gonna blow it. They're gonna, you know, buy drugs and cigarettes and go out to eat. But they didn't. Like they bought cars and they got jobs and they like got ahead because it's just they finally needed something. And it begs the question, if we know that works, and it's cheaper. I mean, some people that are like in and out of the hospitals and the jails and the homeless shelters, they cost our taxpayers way more than $1,200 a month.
Okay.
So it would, in theory, be cheaper to give people money, right, to get ahead. But why don't we do it?
So everybody would get $1,500 a month, whether you work or not.
You just get it.
And that would be on top of your salary or whatever you bring home. Oh, okay, yeah, that
And
would be
maybe
cool.
you could like, and I'm sure in some of them you like price yourself out, right? Like does like Jeff Bezos get $1,500? I don't know if he does, right? I'm sure there's some people that like, you know, you're like
Give it
over
to
the
him.
threshold.
Give it
like,
to
he
him.
needs
Give
it.
it to him.
Let him have it, right? I mean, you know,
Exactly.
he's an American. Let him have it. But
Right.
but that there is an argument for that.
Right.
And what I think it shows is that when you give people the resources to help themselves, like they don't need a bunch of like well-meaning white lady social workers helping them, which is what I truly, you know, have learned more than anything. I think in my decade of this work is like give people the tools to help themselves and allow them to be creative and do what they want to do, and that's where you really begin to see people thrive. And so I'm a big proponent of stuff like that and creative solutions.
I think that
like
I
that.
would like that because what happens is when you give just everybody money, it truly does stimulate the economy.
We saw it happen.
We seen it happen. Like everything was thriving. And so what it tells you is like, yes, people will spend money. And then what that does is it creates jobs because when a bunch of people are coming here, I need to hire people to keep up with the demand. And so the people that I'm hiring are actually getting money. They take that, pour it back into the economy. So those boosts actually help. But I guess the inflation part ends up coming in there as well. But I don't see why inflation has to occur. It's like that's some made up.
It sometimes feels pretend.
It does.
Like, who? And you know, and this. I mean, and I'm a social worker. A disclaimer, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes all that feels like made up to me.
Like when the war in Ukraine happened, it was like the gas prices shot up. That was bullshit.
I mean, well, it's like still now you call and they're like, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, like we are not taking calls. I'm like, what the fuck? It's 20. We're 3.5 years, 2.5 years. No, 3.5 years in.
Being extra.
People use, I think, they use things as an excuse. And, you know, and then the pessimist side of me is like, you know, the power, you know, those elusive powers that be, whoever they are. Somebody's making a ton of money on inflation being what it is.
Right.
We know people are making money on the gas prices being what they are. And I think those same people are the ones that make the decisions. But then I start to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Well,
right?
do you think that the Illuminati is real?
Yeah, so I don't know much. Like, I mean, I know what the Illuminati is, and I don't know if like that is real. But do I think like
the 13 royal bloodlines that rule the planet Earth, and they're the richest family, and they set the policies, and they fix elections and select presidents, and so on and so forth.
So I don't know if it's like the Illuminati, and I don't know if it's like the families or the bloodlines. But do I think that like the powers that be, like this, you know, we see like Democrats versus Republicans. Do I think like in the rooms where the decisions are really getting made that any of that matters? No.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Because it would have all fallen apart by now if that was the case. So no, I think that there are powers. There's probably people like you and me don't even know their names, right? And who they are.
Exactly.
So I do
that
believe
are calling
that.
shots. Most definitely.
I believe
All right.
that.
So, I mean, you are in politics.
I am in well, I dabble,
You
right?
dabble.
I dabble in the
You
local
are like,
level.
yeah.
I
You get it
dabble.
done.
I didn't know it would be such a strong suit, but
Right.
I was pretty good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You know what I mean? I think things naturally come to you in that arena.
Yes, I
You
think so
know,
too.
you find whatever reason, But on a political level, how can anybody be a Democrat or a Republican when issues come up and no matter what it is, you just automatically side with your party?
Yeah.
No matter what like, does that make sense to you?
No.
Shouldn't everybody be
Like a
at
critic.
like naturally just independent thinking?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Like a critically thinking human, like a person
I don't get it.
capable of critical thought. When I ran Angelina's race, that was like my first like real, I had done some volunteering and I would have considered myself maybe, I followed politics.
Right.
I did some organizing around like issues and people are like, oh, like Jill, you're going to hate it. It's so ugly. And dude, it's just as ugly as they say. And I think a lot of it is because of the reason you said, because it's just like, people's like eyes are glazed over, like they're like,
Right.
well, I'm supposed to say this, so I'm gonna say this, but it's like, do you even believe it? And like, even though you say you believe it, do you stand for it, like, for the rest of your, like, what you're doing out in the real world?
Right.
And yeah, no, it's so frustrating, the lack of critical thought.
Right. I mean, I don't see how you can just automatically side on an issue based on party. It's not real. It's
No.
not real. Like, as far as how I think that money flows, I think more like what Bill Clinton was saying, maybe what Barack Obama was doing, where he feels like put the money into the hands of the people and then let the people stimulate the economy and not give it to the bosses and then expect them to just hire people. It don't work like that.
No.
Because if they hire people I guess hiring people does give money to people that will maybe go out and buy stuff, but I think just giving it into the hands of the people first truly stimulates the economy.
I agree with you.
But then I am much more conservative on other issues though. And so I look at things based on how I feel about these subjects and then take that approach into what I think is right and wrong, but not just a blanket.
Right.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No, I'm with you on that. And I would say I'm a pretty liberal leaning person, just in all of my viewpoints, right? In a lot of cases, but it is the lack of like critical thinking and the unwillingness of people from certain parties to stand up and say that something that somebody from their party is doing is wrong. Like, it made me so mad, like, when Donald Trump became president and he's just spewing off like these horrible things, right? Like these like ableist, racist, and it's like, there are Republicans in power who I believe are like good people and want what's best for this country and are not racist and are not horrible. And it's like, speak out against him.
Right.
Say like what he said was wrong, right? But Republicans aren't the only, Democrats do that too. They're just unwilling to ever, like, it's just always close rank, vote down the party line. Nobody is ever willing to like make a stand for something, and it's really gross. Like, it's just really fucking disappointing on the local level and the national level.
But normally in the elections, they tell you about the person that you're about to vote for the most part. They go and do their research on this person. And you're picking the less of two evils lot of the time.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't say always. That was
not all,
negative.
but
often.
Often. And they got that mudslinging shit. They're letting you know. I'm like, damn, nobody is really spotless.
No.
And nobody is. You know what I mean?
We're human. Yeah.
Exactly. But it seems like the people who are running for office, they've done some super corrupt shit that the average unspotless person hasn't done. Like, he embezzled 100,000. You like, damn.
Oh yeah, it's just like the audacity of these people. They're like, I don't care. I like do one thing wrong and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so ashamed. Like, Jill could never run for office. I'm like, well, these clowns are out here running, like, any of us can.
Right. I mean, Now, I'm gonna get on Joe Biden for just a minute.
That's, yeah. I call him Daddy Biden. He's not my
Man,
favorite person. He's, yeah.
Joe Biden, like, I know Donald Trump is painted as a racist, and he did say racist stuff. He definitely was like fanning the flames of racism.
Certainly, because he knew he could get that base, right? If he said what he needed to do, which is gross.
It is gross, but it was a political strategy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see what was going on here. But like Joe Biden's crime bill speech, have you ever heard that shit?
No.
Oh my God. I'm gonna send you a link.
You should send it, yeah.
When he was talking about prison reform, basically reforming people who got out of jail, he said this shit's impossible. That's why they start giving out all that penitentiary time for people with crack cocaine, and they was giving them like 20 years and 25 years. I interviewed Rob Mackey, RB Mackey. He did 25 years in prison on a drug charge, non-violent, no nothing. 25 years in prison. He just got out. He's doing like stuff to just try to reform other people but stop people from going to jail, get guns out of kids' hands, and and then he has the credibility to speak to them because of all the things that he's been through. But he did 25 years in prison.
Makes me sick, yeah.
But Joe Biden gave this crime bill speech where he was just like, look, these niggas are criminals and they're gonna kill our parents, they're gonna knock them in the head, they're gonna rape your like he was saying some shit.
Was this like back in the 90s?
Yeah.
When they were really tough on crime. Well, and I mean, let's not forget that all of that, like tough on crime, a lot of that, people say it was Reagan and he kind of started it, but Bill Clinton pushed a ton of that stuff.
Bill Clinton was right there.
He was right there with him.
He was right there. But Biden's crime bill speech was some shit, and I was listening. I was listening to it like, damn. He was dropping a lot of like inside shit. You know what I mean? Like using them code words. And shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
And when you listen
saying
to
something all the way different.
Like time reveals a lot of things, right?
Certainly.
So stuff that you didn't peep like way back then in the 90s, when you look at it now, you like, damn, that was some bullshit.
Yes.
You see how offensive things was. Like some of the rap music that I listened to, like back then, I'm listening to it now, like, damn.
Yeah.
This was pretty violent.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I think like time reveals a lot, and hopefully we've evolved, right? And we've gotten better. But yeah, if that was considered like liberal forward thinking policy back then, I mean, that's like you said, I mean, it's fucked what they did.
And like, I think it speaks to your point. What you were saying was in these back rooms, man, everybody is just coming together and making real policy then. Damn, but what about the elections though? Not locally, but like those national elections about just selecting the president. Do you think they handpicked the president, or he's
I mean, you mean like, so I don't know.
Do our votes
matter? Is that what you're asking? I think they do. I don't know.
Man, do you think like Joe Biden, did Joe Biden get more votes? Well, he didn't get more votes than Trump, did he?
No, he did. Just like how Hillary Clinton got more votes than Trump. Like Democrats, like since, I know I'm gonna mess up, people are gonna be like, she's an idiot, but for like a long time, the last couple of decades, typically Democrats get more votes. It's the Electoral College that can sway it, right? So no, he got more votes. I think what makes me mad and what makes me think that there must be some other decision makers we don't know about is like, why in the world, when they announced that Joe Biden was gonna run again, I'm like, you idiot,
right now
have had 4 fucking years to find someone to get people excited about. You had and this is the best you can do.
Man.
Come on.
No way.
And then it's like, okay, maybe you are just waving something shiny in our face.
Right.
Because there is no fucking way that this is the best you could come up with to lead this country.
Right.
And that's what makes me sometimes like go down the conspiracy rabbit hole and be like, certainly our president must not matter.
Right.
If the powers that be come up with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, who are old, cannot string a damn sentence together between the two of them.
Right.
This is the best.
This is the best and brightest in the whole country.
Whole ass country.
There's no way.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think like, oh, maybe this all is pretend.
Right.
Because certainly you can't make us believe that these are the
Like
two
Joe
people.
Biden keeps falling down on the stage and falling off of bikes and all that shit.
Old.
What is he? What's going
I
on?
think he's just an old guy that's had like a hard, stressful job like for a long time. And that's what
Right.
makes me sad too. I mean, like what you said about the crime bill is alarming, right? And
Right.
it's terrible. And you know, and but overall, you know, you talk about a man who really in theory has like devoted his life to public service,
Right.
right?
Right.
And now it's like he looks like, I mean, this is going to be his legacy. Falling down, speaking in word salad, you know,
Right.
saying crazy shit. And that's why it feels like sometimes it is all just like a spectacle.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
don't get why he would run again.
Or why anybody would tell him it's a good idea for him
Right.
to run again.
Right. I mean, and if he is bright as a president should be, and he has the wisdom that a president should, like he should know himself that he doesn't need to run again.
Thank you. Yes.
But he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it at all, and it's
Right.
just like, damn, this is the best that we got to offer. I mean, when Barack Obama was running, he was young, he was sharp, he was saying shit that'll get you excited, and
Well, it's like
I could
he is
see
our
him
best
winning.
and brightest,
Right.
right? It's like, oh yeah, of all the politicians that are out here and people that want to do this job, yeah, he seemed like the best, right?
Mhm.
Even Hillary Clinton, and people don't necessarily like her, but I mean, she was smart, she had
Right.
experience, she knew her policy, you know, like that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah,
These two,
right.
it just doesn't, like when I got that text on my phone, you know, because I'm like, I get all like the Democrat texts because they're like, you're a loyal Democrat, Jill, you know,
Right.
and they're like, we're telling you first, like Joe Biden is. I thought I was gonna like throw it through the wall. I was so pissed. I'm like, and it made me mad because you know, you watched me last year. I like busted my ass, did not sleep, fucking out here hustling, right?
Right.
Trying to work to be thoughtful and work my ass off for like local elections. And I'm like, what am I doing out here when you idiots that make millions of dollars a year,
Right.
you're like, well, I did nothing for 4 years and I guess we'll elect Joe Biden again. And I'm just like, I was so mad and so disappointed, I think.
This is one reason why I thought that something was funny with the election. All right.
All right, yeah, tell me your thoughts. Yeah, do you think it was?
Mail-in ballots from black people is bullshit. It's bullshit. Man, come
You don't think black people
on.
mail in ballots?
Hell no. No, man. No, they do not.
Not one person, not one black person mails in a ballot.
Hell no.
I mean,
no.
fair. I mean,
Come on.
what
In
percentage-
Philadelphia.
Did you look up what percentage of ballots are black people? I know a lot of them are old people.
Donald Trump was mad as fuck. It was like Philadelphia and Detroit. Those was the two cities that had mail-in.
Are you serious?
Hell yeah. He couldn't nobody say it. Like none of the political pundits, the news couldn't say it. Donald Trump couldn't come right out and say the real shit.
But he's like,
Man, stop it. Stop. Not all of them. It was like a million mail-in ballots. Like I don't know the number, but it was a lot.
but you don't think so? Like when they tell us, like, or like when they do like the mail-in, that's also the early vote, right? So do you think black people vote early? Do you think black people go vote early? I'm just asking.
Hell no.
You're like, no.
Hell no. They might vote early. I would say they might vote early,
Okay.
but no,
Nobody's mailing in a ballot.
not that many people. Like I would say like older people might.
Yes. Well, do you know how hard it is to mail in a ballot? So
Is it hard?
Yes. So it's so hard because so when 2020, when COVID happened, I don't know if you remember this, but they canceled our primary in Ohio. They're
Okay.
like, there's no primary. And then they're like, well, maybe there will be. And it was like real weird. And then they're like, actually, you have to request an absentee.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm like, I love to vote. Like, you know, I'm like, I am a voter. So I was like, oh, perfect. So I call them and I'm like, hello, I'd like to request an absentee. And they're like, well, no, So to request an absentee, they mail you a form. That's your request form. So the first thing you have to do is mail the first form. I promise you. And then they mail you the ballot, and then you have to mail the ballot.
So you have to mail
send
twice.
2 pieces of mail.
Shit,
I promise
they not
you.
doing it.
You're like, it's so.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not
2 pieces of mail.
not that many people in Detroit.
Yeah.
Man,
I
come
mean-
on, man. We not mailing shit.
Yeah.
That ain't that. I mean, mail is like some super
And who has a stamp?
task,
And who like?
right?
And who has to drive it to the post
Come on,
office?
man. Right? You might as well just drive to the election headquarters
go
or
vote.
go vote.
It does, I've never thought about it before, but
Right.
it does seem,
I
it
was
is
like,
interesting.
It definitely is. I was like, I don't know. This is wild. That shit. Donald Trump was so fucking mad.
You're like,
they
I love that your
hey,
entire argument. You're like, mail in. But no,
hey, they
it's fair.
stormed the Capitol.
They did.
They stormed the
They did.
Capitol. They're like, oh, hell
They're
no.
like, I'm calling
This
you
is
guys
bull
out. I
stuff.
don't believe in a million absentees. It's fair. It's fair. I
It
mean, a mail-in
definitely
ballot is an extraordinary amount of work.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what is Leo season over with now?
I think it's over. Sometime in the 20s, it switches over in each month.
So-
So it's our time is done here.
Do you know your life path number?
Is that the numerology?
Yes.
Somebody told me it once, but I'm not gonna remember it. I want to say maybe it was a 9, but I don't know. I don't remember that.
So you take all of your birthday digits, and you can tell me you can tell. So you 8, 5, and then what?
1989.
1989. So 8, 5. So that's 13, 14, 23, 31, and 5. 31 and 5 is 36.
36.
3 plus 6 is 9.
Okay, so it is 9.
Yep.
Mhm.
Your life path number 9. So 9s are the sum of all numbers are 9. I think 9 is the most supreme number of all the numbers. So if you add every number up, right, it'll sum to 9. I think it comes to either like 72 or 81.
Okay, so it's like, and that's divisible always by 9.
And right, and 9 always equals any number that you add to it. So for example, 9 plus 4,
Mm-hmm.
right? 9 plus 4 is 13,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 plus 3 is 4.
Oh.
9 plus 5 is 14, and 1 plus 4 is 5.
Oh, that's cool.
So 9 always mirrors whatever number that it's combined with. And so when people should always feel comfortable around you, because you kind of like reflect whatever somebody's thinking. Like they feel like they're talking to somebody that's like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that resonates. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that 9s are humanitarians.
Mm-hmm.
So doing social work like what you're doing is perfect for a 9. So you know you on the right track. Now you have your middle number too, which is 5.
Okay.
And so that number 5 number is like a real freedom number, like free spirit.
Okay.
You should like traveling.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Doing the same thing every day should be kind of challenging for you. Like, for example, if you had to work in a factory on an assembly line, it would be very hard for you to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like 5s, a lot of words that start with F. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like 5, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like free spirited, friendly,
Mm-hmm.
like fair. Just like the 5s. It's just kind of like really free spirited.
Yeah.
Does that sound like you?
No, I think all that you're saying resonates. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now I seen you do tarot.
Yeah.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Like, does that work? Like, does it normally pan out to be true?
I think it often does.
Mhm.
But I also think tarot and some of the oracle cards are vague enough, that maybe it can always seem kind of true.
Right.
But what I tell people, the thing I like about it is that it makes you think critically, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what tarot really does is it's like reflecting back to you what you already know to be true inside of you.
Right.
You know, or at least it's prompting you to think critically about something. And so I really like it. Just because, yeah, I do it every morning because it just helps me like engage in reflection. And for a long time I just like was like go 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 all the time, and I struggled to like sit down and like really think about like what do I want, you know, what are the things that are important to me, and it helps kind of ground me to do that. But I believe in all of that kind of, I mean, that spiritual stuff, right? Like, I think there are forces at play that we don't understand. I believe in destiny. I believe that the universe unfolds as it was meant to, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. No,
Do you think that everything is predestined in life? Predestined versus free will?
You know, sometimes I wish, I mean, I would like to think, sometimes I want everything to be predestined. So then, like, if I fuck up, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Free will makes me kind of nervous, right? Like, I'm going to screw it up a little bit.
Right.
But I also think, like, you know, I believe, like, you know, in a God and a spirit that is so complex that it probably can't even be defined in like free will versus destiny. You know, I think like can both be true. Maybe, you know, can we have free will, but like God already knows how it's going to work out. They like, you know what I mean? Like he knows how our free will be. I don't know.
It's tough.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that God has chosen not to know, because knowing everything in advance is too boring.
Yeah.
And there's no excitement. And then I also think whoever created man is not the most high creator. Like I feel like man was created for another purpose beside with the most high is. You know what I mean? Because trying to figure out why man was created is a lot to do. I mean, do you know why man was created?
Hell no, I don't know. You know, I don't know. And I think that sometimes too, like, what is the point? Like,
right. What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
I don't know.
And like, I know that we all have our individual contributions to our families and this, that, and the third, right? But like as a human family, like what are we working on? What are we building? What are we moving toward? And it's like, damn, you really don't know.
Yeah, is it all just like this weird little like hamster cage where we're all just like scurrying around?
What do you think that you're always being watched by the creator, everything that you do?
Yes, I think so. I do. Because I think like, you know, attention like for the creator is something that we can't even understand, right? Like certainly he can see what everyone is doing or feeling, you know, in a way that we can't even fathom. So yeah, I guess I do think that.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well,
maybe.
I mean, it depends on what type of text we're basing these ideas on. Because, well, like, I think that a lot of people have the Bible as just like, especially here in America, we use the Bible as a reference point to just kind of like establish that there is a God one way or another.
Yes.
And so there's different parts in the Bible where it seems that God was doing something else and then he shifts his attention back.
Like, and he notices like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, like when the Hebrews was in slavery for 400 years in Egypt, he said he heard their cry and remembered them. Then they was building a tower, the Tower of Babel. You've heard that story before? They was building it, and then he recognized, like, damn, hold on, they building some shit. The tower had got high as hell.
Like why didn't you see him building it?
Why didn't you know what they were about to do and just cut it out from the gate?
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like God might be busy doing a bunch of stuff, and then every so often he check on us like, oh, they doing some bullshit. Hold on, let me go down here.
Let me just like
let me flood this motherfucker real quick.
Use a little water in here.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it seems like it, but then so the Bible in itself is a summary of the larger story of the Sumerian creation story. Have you heard of that? So the Sumerians, they have an older creation story, and then this story pretty much got passed down to the Babylonians.
Mm-hmm.
Then Israel was in captivity in Babylon, for in different parts of the Bible, it even speaks about this captivity. So they kind of like took the Babylonian creation story,
Sure,
and then summarized it into their creation story,
like
which
made it
is
their own.
right. So, but it all starts with the Sumerian creation story, and the Sumerian creation story talks about the Anunnaki. Have you heard of the Anunnaki?
I like heard, but I don't know like the
The
context
whole
of it.
the whole thing. Well, just in short, it says that the purpose of man being created was to mine gold. And us mining gold is so they can take it back to where they're from and their planet and repair their ozone layer.
Oh,
It's deep.
that's
It's
wild.
it's very deep. But kind of like, just to put some of this stuff in context, is like, why is gold valuable?
Yeah.
Can you think of a reason what it does? Why is gold
I
so
mean,
valuable?
I
It
probably
does look nice,
it's
but
nice. Probably just because somebody at one point said it was,
well, the real reason that, if this story is true, the reason that it's valuable is it doesn't have the value here on Earth that it would have to repair a planet's ozone layer. And gold was mined and worked for and taken in large quantities, right? Like supreme labor going in. And gold, by the way, is captured sunlight. So the sun shining down into the ground, and it deposits its light and energy into so much concentration. And then that's how the gold is formed into the ground.
That's crazy.
But this gold, when they pulverize it and grind it up into a dust, they let it off. Because there's a planet called Nibiru,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if you've heard of Nibiru.
I have not heard of it. No, I've never heard any of this, but it's kind of like,
So Nibiru is the planet where the Anunnaki come from, right? And they are on a rotation of our sun for 3,600 years. That's
Okay.
their rotation. So we go around once every year, and then they take a 3,600 year
so they're like so
rotation.
far out. Mhm.
They're very far out. And so just all of these stories like come from the same line as the Bible, but they're so far back that they haven't been like released to the masses like that. They're out there, like a bunch of people know. Like, if
Sure.
people would be watching this and I would put it in the right situation, people would be like, oh yeah,
Oh,
the Anunnaki.
Mhm.
But it's everywhere, especially when you look for it. But the purpose of man was to just do that. But it's a long, weird story. So if I start talking about it too much, it'll get too weird. You know what I mean? But it's very interesting that just us being created, we are like evolution, right? It would take us probably maybe another 50 million years to get to where we are right now, based on what the evolutionary time scale would be.
Mm-hmm.
We would never be able to use tools like we do, like build rocket ships, build all of these buildings, and do stuff at the rate that we're doing, when we was just like monkeys and hominoid and cavemen. Like,
Right.
we wouldn't be this far along. So something happened to us to turn us into the beings that we are, this intelligent being that knows how to harvest, plant food, and do all of these
Well,
other
and all
things
the
that we're doing.
technology stuff, and I think that's like, to me, where I just like admit defeat, right? And it's just
Right.
like it's everything, like with space and aliens, 'cause,
Right.
like, to believe the creation story as we know it, or to believe in God as I think he is often like described, it does begin to fall apart
Right.
with aliens and space and
Right.
planets, and just the vastness in
Mhm.
theory of the universe, right?
Right.
And and the fact, like, and it blows my mind, like, the fact that we send people to the moon. Like, do we really have people exit the earth? Like, which
Well-
is like a whole, we could go down like a
Well,
whole
the
nother.
moon. Have you seen the moon landing lately?
I
Have you
haven't
seen?
watched a lately video, no.
You gotta see that shit. It is the most bullshit video that you've ever
Is
seen
it
in your life.
really?
Listen, we're gonna watch the moon shit. It is an old ass fake video that they used like some fireworks, but they did it in like 1960 some shit. So when they recorded it then, it was like some sweet shit that was like, damn,
like it's crazy.
they did some shit. But we're watching it now with
We're
our
like-
technology now. They took like some little motherfucking fireworks and put them underneath this fake ass rocket and was like, like it was taking off.
Well,
Like some Godzilla shit. You know, you ever
No, I mean, well, and
Terrible.
I've seen, and I told you I can be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist
Right.
sometimes. And I've watched some videos like about like why like the original like moon landing video like, and that's just and maybe it's like, and I do not have a brain for science. I am not
Right.
sitting here saying I am a scientist.
right.
But yeah, the fact that we had like a camcorder on the moon feels kind of weird.
Right.
Like the fact that we just like rolled out and rolled
It's
back in.
it's no way that this thing could have taken off from, because it was like they took off from the moon. So there was no way that they could have got enough power to get back to Earth. You got to see this video, man. It is so funny.
Well, and that's I've always been, but again, I am not a scientist. I
Right.
am not, physics never my strong. I didn't even take it ever. I managed to
Right.
avoid it. My worst grade ever was in chemistry. Like I'm not a scientist, but it has always just been like puzzling to me that we just like dipped off the whole planet and just like popped back
Right.
and just like landed right in the ocean where we meant to land. Like, isn't
Yeah.
that great?
Yes.
And if it's true, then like Jesus, people are so fucking smart.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, I can barely like, I don't know, like
I don't
write
they,
a paper.
They put together some hell of a
But I'd be
calculations,
curious to see. But yeah, when you watch, I mean, and that's the thing that's scary too, just about like video. I mean, I could watch a conspiracy video about anything and be like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
true. You know?
Me too, right?
So-
I'm like, damn, they right.
But
They made
like
some
makes
good
sense,
points.
makes legit.
For real.
But it is interesting. And that's where it all gets so confusing to me, like spirituality wise and God wise. Like, are there just like a million planets full of people?
Right.
And maybe then he can't pay attention to everyone because like how
Exactly.
would you? But then it does just beg the question too, like what is the point?
What is the
what
point?
the fuck are we doing? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know where we're at, where we're going. And then you got death out there. Oh my
And like,
God. What the fuck is that?
What is it? What is it?
It's a lot. You
Yeah.
have to worry about that shit. all
you
the
know when
time.
you think about it, and it's like and I think I kind of believe in a little bit in like reincarnation, right?
Yeah.
That like we continue to live and come back, but then it's like and like I think like, oh, like when I die, like I'll know.
Yeah.
But if I believe that, then I've died a million fucking times and I
Right.
don't know anything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's just like, do we have like these moments of clarity and then we lose them? Like,
Yeah.
or is it just like a whole I don't know.
The reincarnation thing, I love it. I like the idea of, the circle of life type of
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And those your soul contracts.
Yes, and your soul family.
Your soul
and the
family.
people. Don't you believe that?
I do. I
Because
like
why
it.
do you connect with certain people that you don't even
Yeah.
know for any reason,
Right,
other than
right.
they're a part of your soul family?
For real. For real.
I
And,
believe that.
and establishing those relationships, and then you choose your avatar
Mm-hmm.
before you're born. And like when
And
you're
choose who you get to come back with this
right,
time around.
right. I love it. I hope
Dude,
that that's
I
true.
believe- Oh, I think it's true. Like even now too, like especially in these last couple of years, like there's certain people like when I meet them or I talk to them or certain like friends in my life and I just like know like they're part of my soul family, like they're part of my tribe for sure. And certainly there's people that I love and I care about, in this life, but I don't know that I necessarily feel like they'll be with me the next time around the
Right.
way I do about some people.
Exactly. Yeah. I like all of that though. But then I thought about this. Even if reincarnation is real,
Mm-hmm.
then what? Like what are we being reincarnated to do? Because all right, we're coming back around to get the next level of consciousness.
Yep.
We're coming around to learn a new lesson this time in this school. But the lesson is for what test? The lesson is
Right.
for
What's the end game?
yeah, what's the event?
And maybe we just can't fathom
Shit,
it. We
man.
just can't. But I do believe that because don't you feel like there's certain things like in this life that are just so easy for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's certain things that are so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, this must be the lesson.
Right.
And like for
Right.
me, like work has always come. I'm good at what I do. I'm good at a lot of different things that
Yeah.
are adjacent to my work. Like I trust my gut. I make good decisions. Like I'm just good at it, right? Like it just doesn't even feel hard. And then there's other parts of my life where I am just like bewildered. Like I
Right.
just couldn't make the right decision to
Right.
save my fucking life.
Exactly.
You know, and then I think like this must be what I'm here to work on. Like
Right.
work isn't my thing this time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I
find
can
some-
work. I can work
Look at
nonstop.
you have 100 businesses.
Right,
Like
right.
you don't need to learn anything else.
Exactly.
You're
I don't need to
good.
learn that, but
You're
there are
good.
some stuff that I need to learn.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm just like, oh, Jill, look at you. Look at
Right.
you trying again.
Right. So do you like? Damn. Do you feel defeated a lot of times?
In certain areas of my life, yes.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes I feel like that I just relive this, like, I don't want to say relive the same nightmare. That sounds dramatic. We Leos can be dramatic
Yeah.
sometimes, but like, yeah, sometimes I do feel like I'm reliving the same fucking nightmare over and over again. And it's like, why can't I get it, right?
So what about your relationships?
I mean, that's mostly what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like I'm good at work. I have wonderful friendships. Like, I have amazing people in my life. And I've always been pretty good with friends. And I think I'm good at maintaining that. And certain people in my family, like, I feel like I, have really good relationships with. But I've always struggled with
just
romantic
with
relationships.
romantic relationships.
Yeah, like
what is it?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's my lesson.
Well, is it you that loses interest in other people, or do you think that other people just stop liking you for some reason?
I think it's the other people. I mean, my experience has been that it's like other people stop liking me. I've had a lot being a relative word, right, for being 34 years old, but
Yeah.
I've had several kind of long-term relationships that just seem to kind of like, I don't know, like fizzle, for lack of a better words. And I don't really know why, but, as a social worker, and, social workers were therapists, right? Like, I've done a fair amount of clinical work in my life. Like, I mean, I would say, like, Jill, the common denominator is you, right? And it could be me in that it's me. It could be me and who I'm picking, right? It could, but something just seems to keep happening over and over again. But yeah, it's usually like, things go well, they seem to be going well, and right when it's about the time to, like, are we going to take this to the next level or not, it just falls apart.
Damn. Do you think that you are manifesting these fall aparts and fallouts because you are a number 8 and 8s manifest? We do. I mean, 8 is our month number,
right?
So do you think that something is going to happen a lot of the times, or no?
I think, and you wonder that too, like, was it like a string of bad luck, or just relationships that didn't work out? And then there was like, I had some anxiety around that, right? And you kind of, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I'm so scared that this is going to happen, or, I don't want to do anything to mess this up, but by not doing something or not talking about something, you're really messing it up. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that's part of it. And I also think, there's a lot around attachment theory and about, like, there's some people that say, like, we play out our, like, earliest attachments and our parent relationships, in our romantic relationships.
Right.
And so, is that part of it too? I don't know.
Do you fall in love quick?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No. Mm-mm.
So what makes you fall in love with somebody?
Oh, man. I don't know, like, what it is. I mean, I just feel like love is something, like, and maybe that's part of my problem. It just feels like I have no control over it, right? Like, there are certain people, like, men that I'll, like, spend time with, I'll be like, this would be a nice match, right? Like, this seems like a nice guy. He's got a good job. He's good looking. He's nice to me, right? You know what I mean? And it's just like, you just don't feel it, right? That spark. And then, it's like, is the spark trauma? Is it weird attachment? Like, what kind of stuff is it? But, I like people that aren't like everybody else. I like people that, are interesting or different. And I think that can make me fall kind of quick. I don't know.
I wonder, do the people who you are with, Do you think that it's possible that they don't know if you really love them?
Maybe.
Do you communicate love?
I think I think I do. I think it's something I've gotten better at. I think
Mm-hmm.
probably the first couple people I dated, like, late teens, early 20s, might have thought that maybe I didn't. Because I think there's like, I've struggled with, I'm overcoming some self-esteem issues, I'll say, and it's hard for me to be vulnerable
Right.
sometimes. But I think, I've done work, I've done therapy, I've done a lot. And so I think now I'm better at communicating that.
Yeah.
But maybe I wasn't
Yeah.
for a while. And I think too, when you've been hurt, then you want to like convince yourself and everybody else that you don't need anybody, right? Because then you don't have to be hurt again.
Yeah.
And so I wonder sometimes, do I overcompensate that way?
Do you get approached a lot though? Do men approach you and try to take you out? You
I'm like all the time. No, I mean, not all the time. No. Like, yeah, just walking down the street. So many dates, I don't even know what to do.
do you like that though? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, I do feel like, yeah, people, like, I've have guys reach out, right? And I know that there's people, like, in my periphery that, like, were I interested or were I to send out a text, they're sure. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But I'm not, like, I've never been good at being a casual dater.
Right.
I'm just not.
Okay.
And I mean, you, like, and even now, I'm like, I sit down with somebody, I'm like, let's go all the way deep. People are probably like, holy shit. Or they're probably like, she really likes me. I'm like, oh, this is like my normal dinner conversation. Right.
Right.
But no, so I'm not good at casual dating. And I don't like
Right.
to do all that internet fucking
Uh-huh.
swiping. I don't do any
Right.
of that.
Nah,
because
I never did that.
I mean, I did it one time for like 4 days and I was like, this is horrendous.
Did you find anybody?
Oh my
What?
God. I mean, I went on. So that's not true. So I did it one time in like forever ago, like 2013, 2014, for like a week or two. And I went on like 2 dates and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is awful. Like
The
bad.
people wasn't good.
No, they're weird. Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing about dating. Like, you've lived here your whole life. I've lived here my whole life. I feel like if I don't know you by now, like, what kind of like weird, like, where are you hiding, right? Like, what are you doing all day?
What are you hiding? Exactly.
Like when you just like sitting in an apartment all day, I don't know. So yeah, and then I tried again. In 2020, I was real bored and lonely, and I was like, well, let me get on Hinge. And it was, I mean, it's just.
I want to try a dating app.
You want to try a dating app?
Yeah.
Well, we're all rooting for you. It's stuff out there.
I'm gonna try one.
You're
man.
gonna try one?
Yeah, man. I have to. I mean, it seems
Don't you
like it
have
would
a
be
girl?
fun
Like,
to do.
I feel like you shouldn't be on dating apps.
I did. Me and my girl kind of broke up, man.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we did.
Oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
But I mean, no, we have always been good friends, though.
Good.
And so we're gonna always stay good friends. You know what I mean? But I just think I've struggled with keeping long-term relationships too.
It's so hard.
I know.
It's just, do you ever feel like sometimes I look at people and I'm like, do you know something that I don't? Like, is there some kind of like secret?
Because I see people
Like,
just stay
they stay
married
fine,
forever
and
and
they
they
like
just
love each other and they're happy. Maybe
Damn.
they are, maybe. But I do sometimes look at people and I'm like, maybe I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm just missing something. I don't
Well,
know.
my last girl, man, I treated her good,
Did
if I do say so myself.
You're like,
ain't
I
gonna
did.
lie.
You're like, this one was not on me.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did as good as I possibly can, I think. But then, I mean,
And what happened?
I don't know. Like, well, she's younger than me, for one.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't think that she has seen a lot. And I think that she kind of might just want to just, I don't know, maybe be by herself. I don't think it's anything that I necessarily did wrong. But I meet a lot of people. And she kind of looks at that a little like I'm friendly, And so I can understand her just that being a concern for her. But
Yeah.
that's just me though. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's not. And what I try to tell her is like, a lot of it comes from me just dealing with customers a lot, and then being like down there making friends with my customers in a way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go past like the store. Like it's not like I'm calling them as a friend.
Right.
But just hearing those interactions, I'm always like, you look nice today. You look good. Oh, da da da.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a genuine thing that I'm really doing. Like I'm chopping it up with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my employees too, I treat them real good. And just, I don't know, I like doing that. Like I feel like my grandfather used to do that. And I used to see how he would interact with people and the love that he always expressed. And then I got that same type. I tried to just copy that
Yeah.
because I thought that it was a nice quality to have.
I mean, I think it is. Yeah.
Right. But, you know, for her, if I say that to a woman, the woman that I'm saying that to could take it as a pass that I'm making at her.
Sure.
They could take it like he liked me or he's trying to, and I get it because the way that I say it, it's said in passing, and I do it in a way where it's smooth, where they don't have to take it like that. But like me, like if a woman tells me something, like she might say like you smell good, I might be like, oh, she likes me, you know. So I get where she's coming from.
Where she's coming.
I get
from.
where she's coming from, but that's just a part of me that I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't really feel like I'm going to change that, man, you know. And so
Well, and if it's who you are, and I think, I mean, being a woman, like, you know, there's, you know, that talks to men or like, you know, whatever. You can tell when people are being like creepy and weird and when they're not. Like,
right.
You know, I mean, I don't know you super, super well, but yeah, you strike me as like a genuinely kind person. Like,
Right.
there's nothing, like, I'm not freaked out that we're here in this room, just the two of us, right?
Yeah.
And there's like plenty of men that I have to be nice to in my life that I'd be like,
Mhm.
no, I'm not sitting doing a fucking podcast with you,
Right.
you know, just the two of us. So
Right.
I hear what she's saying, but I also think it's pretty easy to tell when
Mhm.
somebody's like being creepy and weird or like, you know, trying to make a pass and when they're just like, no, this is just how they are
Right.
as a human.
And what I'm saying, that's not probably all that she just, you know what I mean? But I think that that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And, you know, and me too. Like, I have my own feelings where I'm like, damn, you know, maybe this ain't what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Man, I talked to this lady this one time. I went and talked to like a psychic lady one time.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she was like, look, you are going to make more money in 2020 than you ever made in your life. And I did. She told me that who I was with, which was Marmar at the time, she she cool, but nah, that ain't who you gonna be with. And she was like, then you're gonna go to the West Coast and then like really make a lot of money. I was like, damn, is this true?
You're like, so it's about time to move to California.
Yeah.
That's
I
interesting.
love California too.
Yeah. I've only like spent time there one time and it was just like in LA and around there and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my, this makes sense why all the richest people live here. It's fucking incredible.
It's just beautiful.
It's
and
so-
the sky is just beautiful.
Yeah. You know what my favorite place in the whole world is?
Where is it?
Alaska. Have you ever been to Alaska?
No.
I'm obsessed with Alaska.
Is it nice?
It's fucking incredible.
Damn.
I went in the summer, right? Maybe if I went in December, I'd be like, this
Right.
place is a hellscape. But
Right.
it's the same. I mean, there's just something about the West Coast and like the mountains and the ocean and the bigness of everything that is so, so cool.
Well, tell me about Australia because I was following you
when I
following
was
your
out there.
stories when you was out there.
So me and my mom kind of decided to go. So my aunt was staying out there. My mom has like a baby sister that's like 8 years younger than her. That was kind of like my mom's first kid. So she's like my aunt, but she's a little bit like, I don't know. It's a weird. Her and my mom have a unique relationship, and
She's kind of like your older sister. in a
she
way.
is, and my mom like loves her like how she loves her kid,
Yeah.
and she had a son,
Mhm.
and so I have a cousin who's like 20 years younger than me, and it's kind of like my mom's first grandbaby, you know.
Right.
So anyway, she's like, they're out in Australia, and I want to go, and I was like, mom, like, I don't know, just the two of us in Australia. That's a lot of alone, you know. It's a lot of time together. But I was like, I don't know. And then finally, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, we both have the money to do it.
Yeah.
She's out there. Like, it's the middle of March. No one else is gonna be going. Let's
Right.
go. And so we kind of went on a whim. And you know, to go to Australia, you got to get a visa. It's kind of like dramatic to get out there, but Australia's cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot, like Australians are a lot like Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they have an accent, but like otherwise they dress like we do. Like the stores look, I mean, when you go to like Europe and stuff, it's so obvious you're in another country, right?
Right.
When you're in Australia, it doesn't really feel like that,
Okay.
except for like it's beautiful and there's like kangaroos hopping.
Right, I
and,
seen those kangaroos on your story. That
little
was sweet.
koalas and all the trees and stuff. But it was beautiful. It was so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
damn. So where was the kangaroos at? Like, did you guys have to go out to the bush to see them, or they was just
No,
around?
they're like so kangaroos are Australia's deer. So here's a fun fact for you that I learned while I was in Australia. All animals on Australia, due to evolution, like what we were talking about, they all evolved as marsupials.
Mm-hmm.
So with the pouches, right? So every land animal that is like not a bird, but every like land animal that is native to Australia is a marsupial.
What?
That's how they evolved. Yes.
Damn,
So-
they all have pouches.
All of them. There's like, so you hear about like dingoes, right? Like those wolf dogs in
Right.
Australia. They don't, because they were actually introduced in like the 15 or 1600s by like colonial ships and stuff.
Okay,
They like
right,
let wild dogs loose. Why, no one knows, but because they're awful. But yeah, so kangaroos are like deer.
Right.
So like certainly they're more prevalent like in the forest and out in the wild, like how deer are here.
Right.
But they also like wander through people, like, you know, hop through people's yards and
Right,
like are in
right.
big fields, like just how deer are here.
Yeah.
So yeah, kangaroos are deer.
Damn,
Isn't
that's
and even when
crazy.
you look at their faces,
They
like,
got like
they look like a little bit of a
face.
deer face. Yeah.
Damn, so hold on, kangaroos are evolved deers?
Kangaroos, so like, you know, I don't, you know, this is where I'm going to pretend to be
Exactly.
a scientist again, but you know, like when like the fish or what, you know, whenever the first like animal flocked onto land, right?
Mhm.
As they began to evolve in North America, eventually there became a deer. And as that same animal evolved in Australia,
Yeah.
it became a kangaroo.
Okay.
So if you take the deer and the kangaroo all the way back,
Yeah,
it's like the
The
same
same.
thing.
the same
Mhm.
thing. Damn,
Isn't
that's
that
crazy.
crazy? I know,
That
I learned
is.
that. Every animal in Australia is a marsupial.
But your family is not from Australia or nothing.
Mm-mm.
Hell no.
No, actually, my two of my grandparents are immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
One from Sicily and one from Germany. So they were
Okay.
children during World War II,
Right.
and then their families immigrated here when they were teenagers. And then yeah, my mom's family's just like, I don't know, like white people from the hills that have been here forever, just like regular white Americans.
Right. Damn,
Yeah. So no, so
Sicily.
we just went because my aunt was doing some work there just temporarily, and
Yeah.
so we're like, well, let's go see her and see the work that
seems
she's
real
doing
cool.
and zoom around Australia. And my mom was a champ, man. I was way more tired than her on that trip. It'd be like 8:30. I'm like, well, we should go to bed. She's like, do you want to stay up? I'm like, no, I want to go to bed.
Right.
Mom, you're killing me. No,
Right.
she was a fucking champ on that
Yeah.
trip.
Traveling is some shit, man. Like you travel all around and you just want to just stay in your hotel room sometimes and
so-
just relax, man.
Yes, and I'm like such an introvert too, so like I just like really need like my like
Yeah.
just like I do. It's like I get in my bed and it's like I'm like an iPhone on like a charging station. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Yeah.
all the way done and I just get
Man.
in there. So-
Oh, I love just going home and getting in the bed.
oh my
It's the best
god, I
thing
would
ever.
never leave the bed if I didn't.
Shit.
One of my like 75 hard challenges is like, Jill, get your ass up out of bed because
Mhm.
I wake up really early, just like naturally.
Yeah.
But dude, I'll lay in bed
Right.
for hours.
Yeah.
Because I just like never want to leave it.
Right. So you wake up early and just lay in the
Just
bed. But
lay, just
me
fucking
too.
Scroll, email, and sometimes I like convince myself I'm being productive, right?
Right.
Because I'll like email from bed.
Exactly. Right.
You know, I'm like, look at me, I'm so busy, and it's like,
Damn,
Jill,
I
get
do the
out of
same
bed.
thing.
Oh my god.
Man, I promise. I get a lot of shit done. I get a lot
I
of
do
shit
feel like
done
that.
before more people do all day from my bed from
Mhm.
like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I just think other people are up. It's like 5:30. I'll just send them a message.
People
I
get
need to
mad
send
at me
them-
because I text so
Mhm,
early.
Exactly.
Do you go to sleep early, or are you just somebody who doesn't need a lot of sleep?
I don't need a lot of sleep.
Oh, you're like my brother. I'm so jealous of people like you.
I would like to go to sleep early if I could,
Mhm.
but I do a bunch of stuff. But no matter how late I go to sleep, I always wake up early. I wake up
Same.
5 o'clock,
hmm
4 o'clock.
I was up at 4:30 this morning,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah,
ready
I'm
to
up.
roll.
I'm
Mhm.
up. But I don't know. I'll try to go back to sleep, but then I'll be thinking to myself, like, damn, bro, you might as well just get up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get up and do some work, and then it'll be like 6:30 or 7:30, and then I'll be like, damn, maybe I can go back to sleep now.
Yeah.
Because you know you got the whole day ahead of you now.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what's tough is like, really, like, people are like, on like a Friday or Saturday night, it'll be like 9:30, and I'm like, everybody's like, you staying out? I'm like, I'm
Right.
like, I've been up for 100 fucking hours,
Exactly.
But no, I need a lot of sleep, so I'm usually like asleep by like 9.
What do you like to do though, like recreationally?
For fun?
Mm-hmm.
So I spent the almost entirety of my 20s like being drunk, like I partied nonstop.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and I kind of like learned to be an adult a little bit.
Right.
So, and I didn't really have like a lot
So
of.
you was still partying hard up until
Oh
COVID?
my God.
What you be doing, Jill?
Well, drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So I live downtown.
Mhm.
So I went to UD, which is a big party school. So
No
UD is
doubt.
where I learned how to binge drink, right? And I
Okay.
learned how to just like fucking, slam drinks till I felt no more feelings, and I was wild,
Right.
buck wild.
Right.
And then I lived downtown. So I lived in the St. Clair Lofts.
Mhm.
And a lot of my friends lived in the Oregon District or still live in the Oregon District. And
Okay.
I mean, we're just like rats in the bars. I mean, we
Yeah.
just fucking stay there all the time. I mean,
Ew,
I'd
that's what's
stumble
up.
on home, and get up and go to work the next morning. And then I did. So right before COVID, I bought a house. So I have a house over in Walnut Hills, kind of on the east side,
Mhm.
like across from Belmont High School. And so then, and I don't drink and drive because I don't want to like lose my license and lose my job, right?
Right.
So I feel like I stopped, like I chilled out a little bit then when I couldn't just like stumble on home every day.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I used to party really hard, but no, then COVID happened and I needed to like develop some hobbies. So like, I mean, I still hang out with my friends. Like I'll go out and they'll party and like get pretty wild, and I'll just be like,
Mhm.
chill and sober.
Really?
I learned that like, I'm like jumping all over the place, but so like COVID happens, right? Like, I would still go out and get kind of wild sometimes. And,
Yeah.
and then I had a bad breakup in 2022, and just like what I would call like, I just struggled really bad with some depression for a while.
Uh-huh.
So I stopped drinking because the drinking made it worse.
Yeah.
And I found out then, like, I can still go out with everybody, and like, I don't have to be
Yeah.
like as fucked up as everybody else is,
Right,
and
right.
I still have fun, and sometimes, I get a little sick of them by the end of the night,
Right,
but
because they get
yeah.
like obnoxious and drunk and shit.
and they're just like wild. I'm like, let's take you on home, but, so yeah, so I still like to go out.
That's that
and
number
hang
5 in you.
Is it?
Hell yeah.
Yes, I party.
5s is the most party kicking it number. You born on the 5th.
Yeah.
5, man. Look up life.
I
path
need to
number
look up 5.
Well, just
Maybe that's why, but now I'm like, God, I'm like allergic to fun now. But yeah, no, I used to be like the drunkest girl in the room always, like
Damn.
rowdy.
What you? I mean, you were talking shit and
Yeah, just like yelling, talking shit, like fucking thinking I'm funny, like it's everyone listen to me while I
And you a
tell a
Leo,
stupid
and
ass story. Yes, I'm like all eyes on me, please.
yeah, you a Leo.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I was a lot.
Damn, we the real Leos.
I mean,
I'm the last of the real Leos because I'm on the 7th.
yes.
So 1 through 7.
1 through 7.
We the real deal.
I mean, I'm telling you, those single digit August Leos. Some people are like, I'm a Leo, and they're born on like August 18th. I'm like, I don't feel like you're a Leo.
What about July?
So July Leos are like, I like July Leos. They're kind of rowdy too. But yeah, I feel like end of July, single digits of August.
Yeah, I
But
just think August.
single digits of August are the real ones.
August, we in the middle. My birthday is the exact middle day of the summer.
Is it really between like the solstice and the
Yes.
however they do
the
this
middle day of the summer, August 7th. I look, you know what? It was so funny this year. I was like, damn, I bet you my birthday is close to the middle of the summer. And then I Googled it,
and it was literally.
literally the day.
Ooh.
I was like, damn.
And then you wonder, like, where
major.
did that thought come? Like, why did that just come in my
I don't
brain?
even know,
That's so
man.
crazy.
I don't even know. But it's getting late.
It is. Oh my gosh, dude! I'm a chatty lady.
It's time for you to go to bed.
It is.
So
Do
hold
not
on.
disturb pops up.
Before we get out of here, I want you to just take us out with just some kind of powerful thought, some kind of good message, something that if you could give instruction to somebody to change their life, what would you tell them to do?
What would I tell them to do? I think, I don't know if this, I mean, the thing that's been most transformative for me the last couple years is just like to be honest with yourself, to be honest with other people. Like, if you don't want to do something, don't do it.
Right.
If somebody says something to you, like, don't try to bullshit them, just be real with them. When I started being honest, I became a better person and a better friend and a better boss and a better everything. And being honest with people, like giving real and honest feedback, and just being honest with myself. Like, Jill, you're not having a good day today, right? And like, that's okay. So you need to do X, Y, and Z. I think I used to always say all the time, fake it till you make it, but this has been a much better thing for me. So that's been my kind of life-changing philosophy the last couple of years.
Just being real.
Just be real.
Yeah.
You don't need to impress anybody. You just need to be you.
Exactly. Because if anybody doesn't like what you do, they got a real fucking problem. Why? Because they need to be worried about themselves.
Thank you. Worried about me. Yep. And yeah, and I mean, if you can't be true to yourself, then like, what the fuck can you even do, honestly?
Right.
If you're not going to stand up for you, then...
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that for whatever reason, the Most High gives us these tools for us to find our highest positive purpose one way or another. And I think that not horoscopes, but just like our signs, our numbers, the things that we add up to, all of those things are just little clues that we can use to figure out what we should be doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so as Leos, for whatever reason, like, we are good at, is it leadership? I don't know. I don't know how good of a leader I am, but I'm always in a position where, like, I got a store and people work with me. You know what I mean? Or whatever I'm involved with, you know, I'm trying to figure out how I can help from the front some kind of way. I don't know why, but I don't think that I'm a very good leader, though.
Oh, I think leadership has so many forms, right? Like, I always say, I think I'm a good leader. I think people, whether it's Leos or people like you and me, I think that we're like inspirers. I don't know if that's like a real word.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good leader that way. Like, I think I am good, like, when people are having like a bad moment, like, I can get down on their level and I can boost them back up and like send them off into the universe. As far as the manager goes, I don't know if I would want me. I manage a lot of people. They're probably like, she's like a mediocre manager, you know? Like, you know, like a supervisory leader, I think, is different than being like a thought leader.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you are a thought leader. Like, I think I texted you on your birthday, you're just, your story and just who you are and how you carry yourself is inspirational.
Right.
And that's a form of leadership.
For sure. I think what I was talking about is like bossing. Like, I hate telling somebody to do the same thing twice and stand over people and micromanage them.
And all the little bullshit things that they bring to you, like, and they bother you.
Yeah, it's
I hate that part.
Man, like telling somebody like, hey, you guys, you know, clean up or get this. Like, this is obvious stuff that you know you should be doing. And
answer your emails. Respond when someone calls you.
Right.
Don't act like a freak when you pick up the phone.
Man, like, I don't know. Like, little stuff like that, like bossing people around. But I think that I might need a manager to do the little kind of like dirty work for me.
Yes, you need like a mid-level supervisor.
Exactly.
And some people are such good supervisors.
Right.
They have like, you know, they don't care if people yell at them. Like, they, you know, they're just like by the book good supervisors.
Exactly. Right.
I am not. That is not me.
Yeah, I can't. I don't like doing that.
And I get so annoyed with it.
I like getting the shit started and then, man, I'm opening it up. I'm setting up shop for everybody. Come and work with me. And then I need one person in between me and the people that are working to just like enforce my policies. I want all my fucking policies enforced. Fucking come in here late. You come in here late. I need somebody to be like, you're late. Because I can't say it. But I need to be like, man, you late. You fucking docked.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid.
You need somebody like, that's like good at holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And that's not my strong
Oh
suit either.
shit!
No,
I can't hold nobody accountable for
no.
shit. I feel so bad. After I yell
feel
at somebody, I
terrible.
say, "Now, does anybody want something to eat?" I'm about to go to Olive
What
Garden.
can I get you? Please love me. What can I do?
Right. I need everybody to love me. Fuck.
Oh, yep. Nope. That's like leadership versus being a good supervisor.
Exactly. So
And I've just given up on that. You're good at other things. You
Exactly.
Don't need, you just need a mid-level person.
Yeah.
I have 2 teams and I got myself a mid-level.
Yeah.
Because that for me, and I just can't handle stupid ass bullshit questions.
Right.
It makes me
Right.
crazy.
Right.
Like, Jill, like just ask me the stupidest fucking thing.
All right.
I'm like, you literally interrupted me to ask me this question. And then, and I feel like I look at them like with my crazy eyes, right? And they're like, she's so mean. But I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, that's why you need the middle part. They can ask them the stupid questions.
Because I'll let shit build up for a year and then I'll finally say something and go the fuck off about it.
Really?
And they'll be like, damn, what's wrong with him?
There's something wrong with him today.
I'm like, ain't nothing fucking wrong with me. Something's wrong with you. You just fucking just stealing money. You're not working hard enough.
Yep.
Well, this is one of my fucked up jokes, but in my book,
Drop an earring.
Mm-hmm. My 4th great grandfather was a slave owner.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's right.
And he married my grandmother, or they had 4 children together, who was a slave.
Mm-hmm.
But now I see where I get these thoughts from, that people are never working hard enough. My 4th great grandfather manifests himself in me every fucking day.
Nasty piece, yeah.
Every day he manifests himself in me. I'm like, wow, fuck, you're not working hard enough around here.
I say that a lot. I'm like, why is nobody working? And everybody's like, we're working. I'm like, clearly you're not.
Bullshit.
Yeah, no, that's dark, but no, there you go.
All right, we out of here,
All
man,
right.
Jill. Thank you for real.
Yes, this was
Come on,
awesome.
let's take a pic.
Oh, what do we?
You know what? We could take a pic right here.
Are we just gonna do this?
Hold on. Watch this.
Okay. Where are we looking? To this camera?
Nope, we're going to look
Which
right here
this-
in this one. This is going to be my first time ever Hold on. No,
No,
we're
we
going to
look-
look at this one.
Do we look in this one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold
So we
on,
just
but
like
let me get
pretend
this.
like.
Let me get this thing real quick.
Let me get my hair situated.
Hold on, did I get it? Yep. Okay.
All right,
Ready?
Sony camera.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
How do I look?
Let's see. Oh, fuck.
Just
I
you.
fucked up. Look at that. All right,
Okay.
hold on. Here we go. All right. Wait. Let me see this. All right. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Man, I look terrible.
We try
But
it again.
hold on. Yeah, this is our last
I feel like
one.
my eyes are like not open.
All right. I got, you know what? I got a real system of how I take pictures for real
Okay.
with my iPhone, but no, we're going to do it like this because I like this
We're
one.
doing like the fancy way.
Yeah,
All right.
we much better now.
I'll try to
All right,
make
ready?
my eyes be open. Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, fuck it. I couldn't help it. Perfect.
Better.
I'll take
better.
that.
We'll
I
take
love
it. We'll take it.
Yeah, that's good.
No, that is cute.
Yeah, good shit.
This was
We
good.
killed our podcast, man.
We
Oh,
did.
shit. We still
Dude, I mean,
recording.
oh God.